Hey guys, a couple people asked me to maybe put together this package of ideas of how we as a team should play together. So this is kind of our first crack at it. This is the first time we've ever probably really talked as a team, and figures a video that I'll try and run through quickly will give us something that we can all be bought into, so we all are playing under the same concepts. But to make it work, it's important to watch this and to just understand the basic fundamentals of what we're trying to do. There's a lot more I could put into this, but I'm just trying to keep it really simple on the basic strategy that we'll use. So I'm going to go through a quick list of ideas first, and then I have some drawings. So first, we're going to keep the ball. These are our fundamentals as a team. So we're going to keep the ball. It's not their ball, it's ours. And possession is our first priority. So we want to keep it no matter what. We expand immediately when we have the ball. That means we get really big as a team. We go to the sidelines, the end lines, we drop off on defense, forwards push high. That way we have the most space possible, and it gives us large passing zones. We tuck into the center and create a dense central field that other teams can penetrate when we don't have the ball. So we tuck in, we get tight. We sub quickly because we're all out of shape except for about 4 of us. We build up the field by switching the play through our center mids and our defenders. So we're constantly looking to switch to the other side of the field because that's where the space is. Wherever the ball is, that's not where the space is. We always look to pass the space before beating a player with the dribble. Sometimes we like to dribble too much. If you watch the pros, if you watch a high level any team, basically, even a high level youth team, it's all just passing. It's 1 touch, it's 2 touches, 3 touch. The dribbling doesn't really happen unless there is a huge amount of space they need to dribble into before they draw a defender, or in the final fourth, then the creativity needs to start happening. In the final fourth, we look for, so when we get in that final fourth where we're trying to score, here are some ideas of things we can look for. Kind of through balls first, and those through balls need to be on the ground, and they need to be, the forward needs to be making an angle run so that it can get to them in a way that they can stay onside. The next thing, crosses to the far post, dribble to the end line. That's one of the best plays where you dribble to the end line and then you play the ball back to someone on the 18. Give and goes, again, a quick give, a quick go, and then maybe a pass back to the original. And 1-2s to the forward, then bump the ball back to someone else, and that's when that forward then makes kind of that sideways run where we can play the ball to them. Here are some drawings I made to help explain it a little better. So in this drawing, if there's a time you need to check something out on here, just pause it, look at it, read everything I've written, a basic kind of slideshow on each slide here, but I want to walk through these quickly. First, these are the positional numbers of each position. So when we talk about a number 9, we're talking about the forward. When we're talking about a number 7, we're talking about the right mid. So these are kind of the universal numbers for each position. As you can see in here, we don't have an 8. An 8 is actually kind of a midfielder that roams everywhere, but we're instead having an attacking mid and then 2 holding mids, which means it gives the left back and the right back some freedom to move up and down into the play, and then they can get some coverage, and it just keeps our defensive shape tight. We have always, as a team, won typically through having solid, strong defense, and I think when I look at our lineup here, we should continue that. We've got the players to have a strong defense, and then we need to build up the field together. So this shows our starting position, our defensive shape. The blue team, the stars, have the ball. We're always the red team in the circles, and it shows our numbers again. So as you can see, when the other team has the ball, we're very compact. We're in the middle of the field. If they want to shoot, they have to shoot from outside the box. The number 9 stays high, really doesn't help a whole lot. And the idea is if we need to transition out, we might have a long ball that we can get to them. And the 10 kind of just stays in this area, trying to make it hard to play it back through their center mids. So that's what it would look like defensively. We want to shrink in. As you can see, even the outside mids have shrunk in. They're more into the center. Everyone is back helping, and we're, as you can see, we're covering. We're making sure we're tight. When we get the ball back, so now we've got the ball. So the ball, we'll say that the number 10 right here got the ball back. Okay, so this is where we're starting with it. We immediately want to expand. So these guys are expanding outside as quickly as possible. That's the most important thing, getting outside. These guys are outside backs are expanding outside, and our defensive backs they drop off. This gives them some time and space on the ball if it's played through to them. So we're expanding. The number 9 stays as high as possible because we want to make sure again that this field is that there's more gaps everywhere. We're trying to create all these gaps everywhere. So that they can't get to the ball if we decided, so we can pass it around them. So this is kind of the first look. This is our first expansion. And then in this, you can see that if the ball starts here, that this, we want to reset. We're not looking to play it up. No. We don't want to play it up because they've got coverage. We want to play it to a player with the most space immediately. And this play here, this drop off, it's called a reset. We're basically resetting our team into a place where now this person has the most time and space on the ball because these are the closest defenders. So this path makes the most sense. Now, yeah, they're going to start checking in, but that's okay because as soon as these guys start checking in, then this 5 is going to drop off. We can play it back through here and out the other side. So the idea is to just keep them moving and to play the player with the most space. So as you can see, now as we move up the field, so now we're in the middle third of the field, the center backs remain very deep. So we're not pushing up like we've done in the past. We're not pushing up really fast. That actually doesn't help us because we're not expanding the field then. We're pushing up more slowly. We're really just worried about ball possession. As you can see, there's kind of a big gap in here. That's okay. We want that gap because that helps us give the 6s time and room on the ball. As you can see, the outside backs have stayed wide. Our outside mids are continuing to stay wide. And the last slide I showed, this is where the ball had ended up. So at this point, with these backs dropping off, we've got players here. I mean, to me, I look at it and I say, oh, well, this guy now has a pass to here or an option to here. The number 10 is also an option. So if we're looking up and we can get the longest ball in, we should play the 10, right? Because he is an option here. And then this guy has to check in. This guy has to check in a little bit there. But this guy stays wide because the idea is we're going to want to play it through our center mids back to this side to keep making teams shift. If we can't play it through them, we're going to wind up playing it all the way back through these guys to keep making the other teams shift. Okay, so now as we move the field, we still stay big. We want to stretch the defenses. The outside backs and the mids continue to stay wide. You can see the center backs are super deep. And you can see that if the ball is here, that this is the ideal positioning. This center mid is dropped off a little bit. So if it's played to him, he's going to have time and space on the swing. Okay, this is actually the player we want to typically play it through. Okay, we're going to want to play it through here and over here and then start building up. Okay, like that's a prototypical, like a really nice way to build it. Now, if this guy starts to pressure here, who cares? Because we have the outlet here, we have the outlet here. We can always swing it back around again. Because these guys stay deep, they're only going to keep one forward up to pressure a little bit, and not really because we're all old and lazy. So this is going to be here all day as long as these backs stay dropped, as long as these guys stay wide, as long as these guys stay wide, and our 9 keeps going vertically back and forth, trying to stay in the ball line. All right. So here's an example of now you can see that they're compact in the correct way they should be. And so you can see that some passing options, like I showed earlier, are through the 6 over here. We could also swing it around here if we wanted to. The 10 wasn't available. There's a player in between them, so we wouldn't play the 10, even that's a high, even though we're always going to look for our highest option first. And then here we could play him too, which could lead to that, and then he could bump it back. Another important concept is the 9 and the 10 have to not turn in to players. we often have a habit of turning it into a couple players, and that's not, again, that's pushing us forward too quickly. We then, as a defense and as midfielders, can't keep up with that. So what really needs to happen is if we somehow miraculously find the long ball to the 9, right? This 9, this guy's going to come over and cover. Maybe this is a chance to turn because you're on the inside of the box, but just as likely, this guy's going to start coming to you. You're going to want to bump it, swing it, and move forward again. So really being committed to not always turning into shins, but to be looking to keep possession of the ball, even in their half. One thing we probably don't do that well as a team is keep possession in the other half. We really want to push it through. We really want to get up there a lot, but we can keep the ball a long time in the other team's half. The best teams do that, and that's how they wear other teams out. All right, so this is kind of just a final drawing you can play around with. Again, let's go back. These are, remember, our fundamentals. We keep the ball. It's not their ball. It's ours. We really want to possess, and we want to possess in their half as much as our half. We have to be committed to expanding immediately when we have the ball, and then to tucking in when we don't have the ball, so that we can make sure that we're covering. We need to, the defenders, I think we do a pretty good job of covering and balancing each other. The 2 center backs, one of them should always be free. There's never a time where both center backs should be covering someone. So if one's covering, if one is pressuring someone, the other's covering. They're not marking someone, I should say. So just keep that in mind. And then to cover for them, it's those outside mids and the center mids that are holding that really need to drop off and help in there. All right, we build up the field by switching. This is kind of the key to what we're looking to do. We always want to move the ball to where there's space, where there's nobody, where there's less defenders. So we've got playing against us. So we have to be looking for that, and that means we have to be committed to playing it through our defenders and our center mids and be okay with that. We're looking to build slowly. We always want to look to pass to space before beating a player with off the dribble. So if there's a pass that the ball moves faster than a person, anytime we dribble, we are slowing the play down. And it's easier for the other defenders to recover and check to us. So why give them that opportunity? The only time we should be dribbling is if there is a ton of space in front of us and we need to draw a defender. That only happens every so often. In general, the ball is faster than a moving body. Let's pass the ball. Let's keep moving it. Let's make them chase us. Okay. In the final third, that's where we start getting creative. Or the final fourth, especially, we start getting creative. We start looking for the crosses, the through balls, bumping it back and forth, playing with it. One of the things we don't do a ton of is we always seem to want to go forward to goal, even in the final fourth. We do an okay job of crossing it, but I got to tell you, there's a lot of times where there's that bump back to that center mid, to the 10 or the 6, that they're just waiting to strike it on the top of the box. We should find that more. And then I think that I've covered most of it. Go back, take a look at anything you need to look at. Hope this helps. I hope we can kind of stay committed to kind of playing in this sort of way. After this, I'm going to also put a 5-minute video on here of some of the best possession sequences that are out there. Now, again, this is way beyond our pay grade, but what I want you to watch when you watch that video is how they continually swing it and how the players not on the ball are doing the most moving. How they're always checking into spaces, they're always staying wide, the field is big, people are moving off the ball to help the player with the ball, and it's all about just being patient. Okay. Have a good day. Later.